There are themes within Takmalah that listeners may find triggering, including intrusive thoughts, violence, domestic abuse, and suicidal ideation. If any of the topics in this episode speak to you, you're not alone. We have partnered with SAD, who host an online support group every Thursday, aptly named Shits and Giggles. Wherever you are on your journey, SAD offers a chance to connect, to be heard and supported by this incredible group of survivors. We've put the link in the show notes, so please get in touch. If you want to become an ally, follow us, rate, review, share, and we can grow this community and help anyone trying to escape an abusive relationship. With each episode, we gain in strength, numbers, and confidence, and are proud to share an initiative we've been working on. We want to implement a domestic violence disclosure scheme in Portugal to prevent any more deaths at the hands of domestic abusers. And with your virtual signature, we are one step closer, as there really is safety in numbers. So please add your name at the link below. Head over to www.change.org/domestic violence disclosure scheme PT. Thank you for listening. Dear Paige, it's me. Sorry, I haven't been in touch. I haven't been great and I didn't want to worry you. Just needed time to work it out, and I'm pleased to say I've gained some clarity. No great surprise. I can't do this anymore. I think my body's going to give out. And look, I need to share something with you that, I need to share this with you so that someone knows. So I'm writing it here. I did want to die. I want to die. I do at times, because it feels easier in those moments than the reality that I'm up against. I feel emotionally spent and I don't have any more bandwidth for the numbness that all of this is leaving me feeling. I don't have the energy to, and the amount of energy it takes to leave the house, I just can't be fucked. But it was that fear and lack of energy that stopped me from driving off of something somewhere. You see, I can't even be bothered to kill myself. 7 months of terror. I had no idea how difficult it was going to be left alone. And if I'd even had a glimpse of what this all looked like, I can honestly say I wouldn't have left. I would have soldiered on. So I've just got this gaping deficit of get up and go. I don't have any rouse, rally, cajole left in me. I can't even describe it as lost. It's not. It's just gone. And everything just feels all a bit futile. I think my girly, nuanced version of the world is utterly wrong. At this point, everything that I thought about myself, Paige, it was just wrong. You know, and if I don't get the world, I'm just going to have to unpick that now too. Woohoo! I just really felt all of it. I'm feeling all of it and it's breaking my heart. I feel like I've been given a totally different perspective on everything. And I feel like a child that hasn't gotten the joke. Like, where am I? This planet is awful. Is anyone happy? It's all very confusing. People are confusing. And I'm just wide open all this energy and hate and fear. It was just flooding over me, over and over me. And I was just a bit broken. And I feel like I don't want to be in this situation. It's not my fight. I didn't buy a ticket to ride all day, and I'd like to get off, please. Because I'm living in Baked Beans' reality where I am his worst person in the world. So I escaped that hell to live in this hell. And I'd rather... I don't know. I couldn't keep up with the changes in his moods. I'm confused, and it's because this hell isn't better. It's just different. And naively, I had expected better of him. I didn't expect this to still be going on. It's been months. So I have to be better. And it's pointless and it's futile. So I just need better. Show me better. And you see, in some way, I've made this about baked beans. And I've made it about the thing, the behavior, this monster. And that is too much for me to be able to do anything about. Does that make sense? It's about a man's choices. It's about a man's actions. It's about a man's behavior. And it's about a man's perceived phenomenal amount of entitlement over me and my life. A deep belief of being in charge of me and a deep desire to dominate me. All that self-imagined power over me, whilst he seems unable to manage being a human being of processing that has to process complex emotions. Because when he's rejected, sad, disappointed, I studied this man's behavior, his patterns, to be able to make any one of my escapes. I learned something each time. I went online, which may not have been the most helpful thing, but it was something to do as I hid in the corner of the room where no one could see me. I'd moved my bed into the corner. I think I've said. And I found a statistic that has changed in the materializing, the realizing of this project. At this point, 76% of all victims are killed by their abuser once they've left. It's now up at 83%. It was 76. So maybe I wasn't being paranoid. Every time I heard his car racing. I didn't want to realise that this was commonplace. I didn't want to see facts and figures. But the algorithm took over my phone and my laptop. And once I saw it, well, now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Because Paige, Paige, he'd said that I made him do it, that it was my fault. That's why I lost it. That's why I lost my footing and ended up on the floor for 2 days. So I do apologise. I'm not imagining it. I am scared. And I have reason to be scared. I don't know if I'd said, but whenever I get the nerve up to get into my car, it's like, I swear, it's like there's some spidey sense, and he is there. Bang, I see him in my rear wing view mirror, wherever, in front of me to the side. He's there. And do you know what I do? I berate myself to keep my head above the water, and I convince myself that I'm making it up, that I'm being so dramatic. Why would he still give a shit about me? I'm lying to myself, telling me off. You need to rub your eyes, girl. You're seeing things. Yeah, I'd lost it. So I decided, and I'm going to work it out with you now. I need a system. And fast. And it didn't take me too long to work it out. So look, this is my idea. Let me know what you think. Because I'm usually waking up, screaming or crying. If I get straight up, start moving, walk around in those bloody circles and just start, shaking it off or something. I didn't know it yet, but I needed to bloody dance. The thing is, at the moment, there isn't any music. I couldn't even muster Earth, Wind and Fire's Fantasy that has always gotten me out of a bit of a doomy moment. I couldn't even bring that into play. That was scary and that hurt. Yeah, that was really scary for me, but something had to give. And whilst I berated myself into action, I started to think how, by being better would come. Didn't need to make it some big thing as I'd started to do. How had I contributed on a societal level to a system that produced abusive behaviour? And that was because I want you to know that I did stand my ground at times. I did fight back verbally. There were times when I did stand up for myself. But may I be real? That's when I'd given up. When I stood up for myself was when I was basically saying to baked beans, do your worst, say whatever, I can't be bothered. But I desperately want you to know that I tried, Paige. I was having real trouble accessing positive memories about myself. That system was not in good working order. That's why I turned to Instagram, hating myself each time I did it, but I couldn't argue with facts. And I really wanted to keep in mind when I'd taken the photos and shared them as stories and saved as highlights for renovations 1, 2, 3, that this, somewhere in the past, was a dream that I'd set myself. My new life in Portugal, renovating a house. And I was doing it. So every morning, I would watch them on repeat, reminding myself and try and motivate myself to get one thing done on the house each day. One of the members of the family set me straight in my thinking beautifully, only recently, when she said, girl, you don't lack competence, you lack confidence.
Go on, girl, go on.
And it was true. Throughout all of this, I've also decided and started to gather a few bits in a box. I bloody love a box with a lid that when I couldn't get off the floor, I could at least grab and plop the lid open. And I'd placed in the box whenever I could muster the energy or saw something within my reach that I could just lazily flop in, much like Sunday sloppy sex, which I always enjoyed. You know, when you're sort of grateful you stuck with it once you'd done it, and you know that your future self you know that your future self will be grateful that you'd done it. Appreciate your efforts. Just like you do once you've had sloppy sex. It's rather nice. Eventually, in my box that I still have to this day, I have hand cream, face oil, a game from my childhood that I loved. And you get these 3 monkey card thing. You have to put it into the squares, and each of the cards had really weird looking faces, but my ordered, loving brain felt really good completing it. It also reminded me of happy times playing it. And I had a card inside from a member of the family who'd said that she was proud of me doing the renovation project. Remembering each time I chose this. This is my opportunity. Go on, girl, go on. And that is why I'm going to finish it. And some dark chocolate. And this black leather ring thing that I'd made, it feels nice. And when I feel the fear rising, when I heard his card outside my house, or he was sat watching me from the car park, because I could sense him, and I creep out onto the veranda and poke my little eyes up, so he couldn't see me. No lights on, of course, don't have any electricity, because he'd ripped it off, remember? And I see that it's him. I rub it. It feels nice. And I like to notice the leather, the suede. And I breathe in time. And I think, ooh, leather. Ooh, suede. Ooh, leather. Oh, suede. And it was hypnotic in a sense. I could zone in on it and soothe myself, calm my ruddy nerves, and it made me laugh. Makes me laugh. I also placed, Paige, a kettlebell in the bathroom so that every time I went into the toilet when I was having the fits, fear-induced shits, I did 10 squats. So at least I was toning up, building muscle and becoming strong because I need to be stronger. I'm trying to make the most out of it. I'm trying to do better. And then better will surely come. So look, Paige, I can't be asked with life currently, but I am doing the things, and that's why you don't need to worry. Okay? And that, I don't know, I heard some sort of sound. Music. It was this track, Mr. Scruff's Kalimba. This track, I'm going to credit myself, Paige, for thinking of this. I am going to credit myself. It's perfect. Because when I thought of it, I'd gone to YouTube. I couldn't work out the name it gave me a good 3 hours distraction trying to work out what song it was, what track it was, what was it? It took me a while to work out who it was. I don't remember if it was a sound outside, but when I was on the floor, I'd heard something had brought this track into my head, and I could not place it at all. I couldn't place the rhythm, that was matching to this noise outside, like the actual track. I couldn't. It took me ages. 3 hours of distraction. It was awesome. Nothing I like more than a good, oh my God, what's that tune? And then you're like, no, give me that bit again. And then I can layer it all and piece it together and work it out. And there are still tracks I am searching for now. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite things. And it was perfect. Perfect that came in. And so what I've decided I'm going to do is every morning, once I've looked at the photos, once I've motivated myself, come on, I'm then going to dance to this track. And it was Kalimba by Mr. Scruff. The beat, the rhythm, and the video. Now this is where it becomes so beautiful a thing. It becomes so beautiful a thing. Because it tells you how to dance. They've got all these characters. The animation is sick. And they tell you what to do. And I just followed it. I just did what I was told. It was perfect. And it's really soft. It's fun. There's like, woo! Characters popping up in the air. Everyone's having a really good time. So every morning, dance. And the dancing and the shaking it off shifted something inside of me. I was pissed off. Here we go. And I just thought, what would ballsy me have done? The ballsy me that when a man in a nightclub had stuck his hand up my skirt when I was 17. I was scared stiff. But I had this thought in my head. No fucking way, mate. He'd walked off, got what he'd wanted, and I walked after him, hot on his heel. I tapped him on the shoulder and I looked at him bang in the eye. And I snaked my hips down as I tracked my hands, tracing them down his chest. Looked up at him, the cum shot, and with 2 moves had undone his belt, button of his fly, and had angled it just right. So when I did the quick flick, after grabbing his boxer shorts, every single button was released. And as that dumb fuck had turned to gloat to his mates, idiot, I pulled his pants down to his ankles as hard as I could, right smack down in the middle of the club. We needed that girl. Okay. I hear you. I see. Yeah, we needed that girl, Paige, but she's not here. But what would she have done? And just like that, I remembered a conversation between T-Bone, Baked Beans and myself at my house about the amount of construction workers had been inside my house, hadn't come back, but taken my money. I'd explained that I'd had this electrician and plumber who was meant to be rewiring, replumbing the whole property. And I've got these 2 houses. It's a lot of work. I'd paid him everything bar 1,000 from the balance of this job. And when my father died, the week before, the boiler and the electrics had blown up, burst in one big moment. And I'd said I couldn't handle any more. I was at breaking point back then. And I had gotten the electrician round after my father died. He was cool, at least I thought. And we'd always had a good relationship thus far. I'd been to his house with my boyfriend at that time. And his father had died in tragic circumstances, and he'd been kind to me, shown me kindness, and I had mistaken that and took that as he was cool and he would do right by me. He told me to trust him, to give him the keys to my house for a month, go away, and when I come back that everything would be done. And that's what I did. 4 months later, that hadn't been done. And I just about exhausted the kindness of people I knew in Portugal, which were few, to stay at their houses. And I'd run out of money to be able to spend on Airbnbs, hostels or whatever. It's expensive, and taking the 2 dogs with me, not everyone wants you in their property. And it comes at a price. And after 4 months, I'd come back and I'd had to stay at a neighbour's house because he wouldn't come and bring me the keys. And when I got in the next day, nothing had been done. So it's a bit of a double blow when baked beans had ripped my electrics off the wall, because I'd had them all redone again, and this had been a massive expense within this project. But back to the story. T-Bone, right on the money, inquired of baked beans when I'd explained this story. Why hadn't he done something about this? Why hadn't he sorted this out already? I could see the change in baked beans' mood, and I jumped in with the question, how does this sort of thing get handled in Portugal? Because if I was in England, I would sell debt. That got me thinking, Paige. Maybe baked beans need some bigger boys to have a little chat with him. And that was a set of services I could accrue. I wanted him to be scared off. That was it. I said I'd go to the police, but he dines with the police. And he said to me on multiple occasions that he owns the police. And Baked Beans is part of a special boys club, and the head of the police in the area is also a part of this same club. So am I really going to the police? He threatened me with quite a lot of shit around this whole club, that they'd investigated me, because I'm not sure if I'd mentioned that he wanted to be a politician. And that one of his friends, who was also a brother, he'd gotten him to do a whole background check on me, and he'd got in touch with the network of brothers from the place where I lived before to find stuff out about me, and they'd come back and they'd found stuff, but he would never tell me what. But he held it over me. He scared me with it. And I mentioned that he was really scary. But he'd forgotten that my grandfather had also been a member of this club. And I'd gone with Baked Beans to one of the lunches with the head honcho, who looked so much like Father Christmas. It was great. And he'd taken a shine to me. He was an incredibly charismatic man. And Pi Natal and I had chatted. And I'm going to sound like a child now, but he'd liked me. And I did think. It got me thinking, Paige. For all that they stand for all of their pillars, teachings and prayers for the women, would Pi Natal stand for one of the brothers behaving like this? You know, he was recruited. I'm connected by blood. Look, I know I'm grasping at straws. Just wanted someone that I knew that he had respect for, or he had to respect, to stop him. Just make him back off and leave me alone. He doesn't respect the police because he thinks he owns them. So what's that going to do? It hadn't worked before. When they were called before, not by me. It hadn't worked, so maybe if I got in touch with Pi Natal, whom I know he respects, and explain. I've got the text, the voice notes to prove what I'm saying. I can tell him that he'd used the network to run background checks on me. Maybe I could do that. I just wanted to scare him off, scare him away. So Paige, I'm going to run my risk assessment on that idea and start to draft an email to Pi Natal. What do you think? It's mad though, baked beans have taught me the handshake. And once you know it, you can't unsee it. Used by lots of men in the world on TV, signalling to the world, to all of the brotherhood that they belong to, from all sides of politics, all sides of the wars, from all the fighting countries, the allied countries, and this global network connects all walks of life to this ancient tie to which they have their own set of rules, their own values. So I'm also going to have a think about selling my problem to the bigger boys. Oh my gosh, an image has just flashed into my mind of baked beans on his knees, so scares he pisses himself. Oh. No, I can see fear in his eyes. So I'm starting to panic. Oh God, I think I'm gonna have a panic attack. I don't like visualizing him scared, but I want him to be scared enough away. Paige, I want him to be scared enough to make him piss himself. I am evil. I want that. Fair point. Yeah. Paige, instead of freaking out. Paige, instead of freaking out. Every time I'm scared. Paige, I'm also going to have a think about selling my problem to the bigger boys. Do you know what happens? When I thought of this, an image flashed into my mind of baked beans on his knees, so scared that he pissed himself. And I liked it. I wanted him to be scared. I want him to be scared enough to take this seriously enough that it makes him piss himself and he stops. I think that's fair. And I will take that I am evil for thinking it. Because Paige, instead of freaking out every time I'm scared, I'm going to try and catch it in time and stick on Mr. Scruff's kalimba. And I'm going to do what I'm told by the wonderful characters in the music video. Because maybe I need to get comfortable with the idea that maybe for this to stop, I need to be the evil demon he says I am.
Ancient traditions mingled with new suicidal.